Hi, everybody. Recruiting Animal here on April 10, 2024. We've got the great Stephen Levy. What's your middle name?
Marcel.
A third-party recruiter said, where are all the recruiters with the killer instinct? Now, last week, I talked about the killer instinct and how men have more of a killer instinct than women, okay? Donna said she's competitive, but she doesn't want to crush anybody. And that's what I call the killer instinct. You want to not just beat somebody, you want to kill them, okay? Now, how does that fit into recruiting? Where there's no room for killer instinct in recruiting. What about you, Steve Levy? Do you have something to say about that?
Do I have, there's too much Glengarry Glen Ross in recruiting. Coffee is for closers, shit like that. This is a deeper conversation. It's like in-house recruiters versus out-house recruiters. Agency recruiters, Don, that's what we kind of call them, out-house recruiters. Sorry. It's if you're goal-oriented, you're goal-oriented. It doesn't matter where you hang your hat and where your seat is.
Okay, so you're saying there is no killing instinct in recruiting.
I think what some people misconstrue as a killer instinct often borders on bad or dubious behaviors.
I'm going to agree with you about that. I had a guy call me up. I think I told this story a few times. He called me up out of the blue. I was just out of university, and I'd happened in to apply for some job, and he was a recruiter. I didn't even know what that was. Calls me up and says, I've got a job for you as an inventory clerk or something. I didn't even know what that was. It was an hour away from where I lived. And I said, I don't think I'm interested in that. He started screaming at me on the phone, like Ralph, yelling, screaming.
So that's where you got it from.
I never did this to anybody. Okay, when I talked to them about a job, he started screaming at me, and then he hung up on me, and I called him back and screamed at him and hung up on him. Okay, that's how smart.
So he was responsible for this.
But my point is that guy had the killer instinct. Okay, I don't know any other normal recruiters, normal people who have that.
Someone who yells at someone for disagreeing with them, that's not a killer instinct. There's a technical term for it.
No, he wanted to make a placement, and I wouldn't follow along with do what he wanted, so he wanted to scream.
Absolutely, but he epitomizes the equine paradox. Why is it there's so few horses but so many horses' asses? That's not. There's no value in this. Someone like that doesn't care about the value that a person is going to lend to the organization. They just they care about the value that the person is going to add to their bank account.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Now, some people might say that it's just somebody who's persistent, who works hard. Okay, that's the killer instinct. They want it, but I don't. That doesn't sound like it. Donna, do you have something to say before I move on this? You've observed other people. You said you don't have a killer instinct.
I said I don't like to kill people or crush people, but I like to succeed. I like to win, but my winning doesn't have to be. Someone's going to lose, but they don't have to be crushed.
Okay. Okay. It's not like eat my dirt in competition. Okay. But you told us you scolded your husband because he was too polite. He was too polite to the other.
That's marriage.
We were in a canoe race. Okay. And we're in the same canoe, and he would start to pull over. I'm like, what are you doing? He said, well, I'm letting them pass.
Yeah,
I'm like, it's a race.
Yeah, she has a killer instinct. She's got it.
That's not a killer instinct. If you're in a competition,
you want to win.
Is to do one of two things.
No.
First and foremost, you want to talk to me about competition, Michael? I will do that. If you're competing, you have two goals, and whichever comes first, it doesn't matter. Number one, do better. Be as good as you can be. And the second thing is, if you can win, great. First is first, and second is last.
Okay.
None of us are from the participation trophy era. You don't get paid for doing okay and not placing somebody. You get paid for doing it. You get paid for winning a race.
Okay, in this case, he was being polite. If someone was going faster, he wasn't going to block them. She wanted to block them out, like in a real race.
I agree.
I like that. To hurry. I mean, what is this? Yes, that was a difficult moment. We've never done a race together again, ever.
Okay, well, that's
I will
smart. That's smart. But where I brought up the killer instinct was in chess. There's a desire to not merely beat the person, but to trounce them and to practice like crazy in order to be able to excel to the extent that you leave everybody far behind. You are the victor by a clear extent. I don't see how that would translate into recruiting. In at least maybe he means something else by killer instinct. I'm moving on. I saw a guy named Jesse Itzler. I don't know if you guys know who he is. He's like a motivational speaker, but he started airlines. He started lots of businesses. And he said he hired a friend of his. He wanted to run some 100-mile race or something like that. He hired a friend of his, this is before he was married, to live in his house and run with him whenever he wanted to run. That would be his accountability partner. So if he woke up at midnight and said, I want to go for a 2-hour run, this guy would go with him, right? That's what he's getting paid to do. And you know what? So if an accountability partner is a babysitter, I don't see there's anything wrong with that. If you're working at home and you have problems staying, you're a really good recruiter, you're making money, but you have problems staying on the job, if you could hire somebody just to, keep you company, that sounds bad, but I don't think it's bad at all. Anybody want to comment on that?
It's kind of odd.
It's odd, but look at the story
you're
I'm telling you about this guy, Jesse.
Okay, Animal. There are two parties in that relationship. Somebody who has a service to offer and willing to do it for money and willing to, acquiesce at a moment's notice. And there's the person who thinks that they're not self-motivated enough. So they have to pay
it's
somebody.
hard to be motivated all the time as much as you want to be.
Not everybody is. Some people are, some people aren't.
But I think if I had somebody here, like if I hired someone to keep me company, I would do less work. Like I'd have to hire someone just to be like get back to work. I can't imagine paying someone for that. But
hold on, Rich wants to get. I'm having problems letting Rich in.
You could hire someone to be a sourcer. To do
do the grunt work.
Okay, let's ask Richie Rich.
Work, but
let's ask Richie Rich because he works all kinds of ridiculous hours. Okay. Wake up. Okay.
You're right. He's
Rich is starting a new career as a consultant. He's a consultant now. Yeah.
Consultant.
Is that what you are, Rich?
They're going to call him Uncle Rich, like they call Steve. Uncle Steve. He's everybody's buddy. Steve. Although Steve doesn't charge for it, Rich is going to charge.
Well, hey,
that's why he's Richie Rich.
No. I allocate 3 hours a week for this pro bono stuff.
Yeah, is that all? Sounds like you're like their accountability partner. You're on the phone for free all the time with Garrett Chan and people like that.
Oh no, Garrett called me a couple of weeks back. I'm sitting on the porch drinking a beer, and Garrett calls me.
Okay.
I can't charge for that one. I'm having
Rich, is it for Thursday morning? Your only commitment to that? You're doing coaching on Thursday mornings?
So we're going to start doing Thursday morning group coaching with Trish Tampkins group, and then we'll do private coaching too, a couple hours a week.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I do that too. Tuesdays are my TA coaching.
Oh, and you charge?
Yeah.
Oh, good for you. I didn't know that.
That way, for fancy New York lifestyle.
I didn't know.
You're real fancy New York lifestyle here.
Okay. Okay, Rich, if someone wants to work long hours like you, okay, but they're just not motivated, would it be worthwhile just to hire somebody to keep you company, keep you at it? I think so, and nobody else agrees with me.
I mean, for some people it is. I mean, they need accountability.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting a babysitter essentially, right?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's like having a personal trainer. Right? If you go to the gym, you want a personal trainer. We can all count to 10 and do 10 reps. Or, you have someone that's going to count it, make sure you're doing it right, and you're paying money, so you're going to do it. If not,
okay, but this person would not make sure you're the expert. Okay, they're just making sure that you're staying at your desk and maybe joking around with you, so it's not so boring. Like Donna said, she'll make 200 calls, and they're pretty boring, right? Am I asking lousy questions? I found this one kind of interesting. Okay, people say
yes, it's boring, but that was
that question of his.
What question?
What?
Is he asking boring questions?
Okay, let me.
Yeah. I just still say I would be more distracted. It would be hard for me, and even when I've had a personal trainer, we end up talking too much of the session. So.
You know what I found? I used to work with a friend of mine, and we would go to his office, and we would pass the phone back and forth. That was fantastic. We would alternate call. We worked on the same search, and we would alternate calls. And so I would listen to his, he would listen to mine, and it was just lots of fun. That's the best recruiting fun I've ever had.
That is fun. Good way to do it.
Okay, here. Yeah, I remember Tom Lascio said that he wants people to remember him. And another guy said, he wants people to remember him. You've made a new contact. How can you make sure they remember you? He said, well, did they say something about soccer? Send them a link to an interesting article you came across. Did they mention gardening? Send them an email saying, I was just telling my Aunt Lucy about your gardening technique, that seems so pretentious to me. And whenever I try to suck up to people like that, it doesn't go over very well. I just have to tell you, I tried to follow that kind of advice, even though I knew it wasn't good. Okay. But
it was not good for you. It's not good for you because that's not your personality. So it's not authentic.
But I got two questions. What's the value of having people remember you? If you're a recruiter, you'll
your
call
whole job. That's kind of your whole career.
Why?
Well, because who doesn't want anyone to remember him in this business? I mean, Steve, right? Who needs to know you? I mean, it's kind of your life.
You work hard to learn, and you can either choose to share publicly and build community, or you can't. And if you do, there are some ramifications of that. And first and foremost is people get to know you and they start asking you questions, and pretty soon they ask you more questions and more questions. Show me this, show me that.
So what you're saying, you attract a lot of moochers that you don't need, okay? That's what happens.
Everyone attracts moochers. Why do you think we're here on with you?
Yeah, with you.
Okay?
But Animal is talking about
somehow. Find a way. Yeah.
Sally, Jesse, you were asking about from a candidate, a recruiter getting candidates or clients to remember you, not just recruiters.
Okay. Yeah. The candidates, you don't really need them to remember you. You go after them when you need them.
Oh, no.
No, you absolutely need to remember you.
Absolutely. You need to be unforgettable to them.
Yeah.
Because that's that they are going to come back to you again. They're going to refer friends. They're going to be within a company, talk to their boss, talk to TA, talk to everybody. You have that. It's trite, but you do have that one chance to make a first impression. And if it's really good, it's sustainable.
That's why I sing to them.
From a building your career and your business as a recruiter, your asset is your network. And if you have a network that's actually going to return your phone call, it's a whole lot more powerful than saying, hey, I got 1,000 people on LinkedIn that know me, but no one likes me, or no one wants to talk to me, or no one's going to return my call. You're like starting over every single day.
Yeah. And that's why, even, working internally, I just got 7 searches thrown on me within a month. We filled 6 of them, and we're interviewing for the 7th, and they all filled in 3 weeks or less. Just boom, 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 boom. But it's because I'm not just reaching out cold. These are people who they know me now when I'm calling them.
Okay, here's the thing.
Just imagine if you were outside.
There's good candidates.
I do imagine that.
There's good candidates and there's not good candidates. You want the great candidates to know you. You don't want. Well, here's what Ernie used to say. He said the kind of referrals he would get are people will call up and say, "My cousin just got out of prison. Can you get him a job?" Okay. He said that's who calls you to give you referrals. Not good. They don't give you good people. Okay.
That's not true. I mean, that's that's going to happen. You're going to get some off the wall referrals sometimes, but you know what? You're going to get the good and the bad. You just like your searches.
Do you remember getting a good a referral of a great candidate?
All the time.
I literally have one sitting on my desk right now on LinkedIn that someone referred to me.
Yeah, I've hired so many people who were silver medalist, people who for whatever reason didn't like the hiring manager but liked me, liked other things.
Yeah.
I mean, it's oh my goodness.
To think you never get good referrals is horrible. That's a scary thought.
Yeah.
But I get both, not prison, but things that don't apply, but I get good ones and bad ones.
Of course.
So.
But the thing about it is, if someone finds you valuable, you can't be choosy about that. You have to be, for lack of a word, you have to be grateful that you're doing something right, that people want to, engage you in some way, shape, or form. Up to us to say no, or find a way. It takes a little more time to take that a person out of prison and find a company, but to find a company and a recruiter or a hiring manager that doesn't believe that jail time is a proverbial professional death sentence. But but if you do help people like that, believe me, they will tell more people, and your company will use it as good fodder.
Not my experience. Not my experience.
Animal, I want to see you take the sunglasses off and see you make the same face.
That's not my experience, okay? A guy called me. I've known him like just as long as you on social media, okay? And he sent me a very smart woman who was new to Canada. She had a great job where she came from, but she fought with me every step of the way about revising her resume. I wasn't getting paid, okay? And then she thought she could just walk into a similar job here. I spent hours, because she was referred by someone I knew for a long time, spent hours with her.
Well, that was
what I got out of it in a long time? Maybe she appreciated, but nothing practical. Okay. That's
right now,
that's more like Ernie's. And I did what Steve said. I don't know, Steve, you're going to work with someone who just got out of prison. What kind of job are you looking for him for? It's nothing related to what you're doing now. You find him a job in a parking lot, checking in cars. What do you know about that?
Aren't too many biases in that sentence.
Should I cut it out? Am I going to get in trouble?
No, it's not. You animal, you don't get in trouble.
Because nobody knows what I say. I can say anything here.
No, but the issue of jail time, recidivism, employment, it's an important issue.
I just threw the jail time out. Take it out. Give me
fine. If someone has a record, it all depends.
No, I just meant someone unrelated. Else. I just gave you the example of a professor.
Rich,
let's switch this. Hold on. No.
Rich, I think I have a coaching customer for you right now.
Switch. You're getting me agitated. I'm getting agitated.
Animal, give you a discount, buddy. Animal, give you a discount.
Yeah. Okay. Here's the thing. I remember
$80 US dollars.
This hiring manager said. He said, who does he call when he needs somebody? If he needs a recruiter, people have been bugging him recently. Those are the people he remembers. So even though people pester him with the cold calls, it's always it's terrible, it's terrible. That's the people he calls because he remembers them. Okay, so that's good to be remembered.
That may be what he does, but what she does is she determines. This is like the men are stupid. Portion of the show, Donna. That
was the last show. The men were stupid, right?
Well, because his attention span is like this, and the woman will go, you know what? I know he calls me a lot, but he doesn't know Jack. So I know who I'm gonna call, people who I have a good relationship with. It's not simply like that in recruiting. It might have been in the past, but these days, with so many bad recruiters out there, I mean, galactically bad recruiters out there. The ones, the very best ones, the ones who get repeat business, who are in demand, are the ones who, are in no special order. They're either more humane than others, they're more knowledgeable than others, and those are the two things. It really, that's the case, and they have business. They can demonstrate it. Don't tell me, show me.
I don't know I don't really understand anything he said except humane. I guess they're nicer.
You haven't understood anything I've said in 20 years.
Oh, yeah, maybe that's true. I'm not going to argue with you about that. Although the way I think to get business people, hiring managers to remember you is not by telling them that you like their roses and you've told your Aunt Mary about them. It's to post stuff on LinkedIn, maybe, to show that you demonstrate your expertise in their field. Okay.
But that gets them in the door. Yeah, that gets them in the door to talk to you, but to build the rapport and the relationship, that's when you talk about, oh my God, you went to my favorite cookie place in Hoboken. That's right next to you, and then they remember you for stupid stuff like that. Then you build actually a real human connection,
But Rich is right. I mean, you brought up the Blue Devil, LinkedIn, as we refer to it. That side has turned into, I'm an influencer. I have a badge because I answered a lot of dumb questions that were AI generated. So I've got a badge on my profile. I'm throwing stuff up that's so freaking galactically stupid that it almost requires that Amy Miller has to jump in and just bitch fest slap people into reality with some of the crap that they write. she's not the only one. A lot of us do.
Yes.
We really have an overload. Being able to separate the
You're
wheat.
wandering, Steve. Donna,
I
can you help
I'm
him?
a Jew. I'm a wandering Jew. Okay, bro. Give me a break there, Michael.
Hey,
Richard, come on,
okay.
join. Help me out here. Help me out, Bobby. Come on.
Okay. So,
There's no help for the animal.
okay. But nobody
Like a
here
Passover
sends.
miracle.
Does anyone here send those links to articles or those? Hey, we had that discussion about your garden. You do?
Oh yeah.
Give me an example of an article you sent somebody.
Oh my goodness. If someone may have said so, I can't remember. If I find
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah, sure I do, but let me try to think about it.
Well,
Okay.
you don't do them every
I'll-
day.
I'll send things like pictures. So I had one candidate. This was a candidate, but
That's
she's
what gets
also
the
high,
business. There you
super
go.
high level. And
Yeah.
we were bonding over flowers. And so I was sending pictures of my roses and things, So yeah, I mean, I will do that. Or if I take a trip, I had one guy who was living in Savannah, so we went to Savannah, and I sent him pictures like stalking you, or whatever. So it's fun.
That's right. I send pictures of pets, if whatever they say, whatever sport they play.
Yeah.
I'll find out something about them. I'll send them things. And,
Okay. But that's
then they
just
forgot it.
immediate. That's just
He doesn't
immediately
want the
after a
answer.
conversation, right? Not on an ongoing basis to suck
No,
up.
it isn't ongoing. If I am engaging someone, and look, all of us have taken. It's been I think the longest was I think 6 months to get someone to acquiesce and go, fine, I'll talk to you. But during that period, you don't just go into you go back into the shrubbery. You're continuously every so often on a somewhat unpredictable schedule, so it doesn't sound like you're really stalking them. You send them stuff. Look, I found this article. I just noticed you did this. Whatever it might be.
Okay.
Yeah, you send them stuff. Anyway, I got to go to my next meeting. Always a pleasure.
Nice to see you, Steve Areno.
Hey, Steve.
Fun.
Bye.
Take care.
Hey, buddy.
Okay, now the head. Oh, I forgot you're an internal now, but you still got an outsider's mentality, Donna. So you're one of us. Okay. Okay.
That's why I did such a good job.
What about this? When you make a cold call, you trigger fear because they don't know you and they didn't expect your call and they assume you want something from them. You're going to push them into some kind of purchase. So the cold caller has to use a very calm tone to calm the person down. It's like coming up to a dog that doesn't know you or a horse. You put out your hand. You don't talk a lot. Anybody agree with that? I like it. Anybody agree? I like that animal metaphor.
It's beautiful.
Nobody likes it though. I mean, does anyone say it makes sense?
It's a very lovely metaphor.
Okay, well, I guess Steve. I guess Rich hasn't given any real opinions anymore because he has to charge for them on Thursday morning.
Mine are free. Mine are free, and that's about what they're worth. But
I can still do a lot for free. But I was at Pinnacle last week. Or was the Pinnacle meeting last week?
Yeah, I saw your posting at the last speech. You were honored to have that guy give the talk.
That was my best client. It's one of my best clients.
Oh, it's your client. Oh, really? Okay.
I've done like 50 deals with that guy, and I placed him.
Nice.
So,
I hope you don't have any $5,000 disagreements.
It's over.
Knowing
if the guy cheated you out of a penny, you'd say, "Screw this, I'm out of here."
Barry would have said, "Fuck off" as well. That's all right.
Okay.
Listen, you got to have principles. Otherwise, you're like every other loser, man.
My principle, I told you what mine were. They weren't like yours at all. Okay, I'm no hero.
Listen, the joy of being successful is you can have better principles sometimes.
Yeah, okay. There's success. You can walk away
That's
from
true.
$2,000.
Write that one down.
Or
Put that in your
$10,000, but not $400,000. Okay, that's outrageous. Okay,
Listen, listen. Honestly, that whole topic though, it sounds crazy, but if they screw you today, they'll screw you tomorrow, and I would still probably walk away.
Screw you
I'm not
today,
saying
they'll
right or
screw you
wrong.
tomorrow. Okay, so you're like one of these guys. If they show you who they are, believe them.
Believe them.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, how do you not?
Okay. So emails must be visual and must look like text messages. The brain gets fatigued when it sees a lot of identical, bland emails. So make them under 50 words. It's a must, an absolute must. Anybody want to bite on that one? It sounds good to me. I like these things.
I was trained that way at a different job with a consultant, and they said put as much pertinent information in the subject line as possible, so there wasn't much left in the body to read at all, and because people skim them so quickly.
Subject line can't be too long. I mean, they can't see it if it's too long.
No, but you have to. It's like tweeting or whatever. You got to be just succinct, like you like us to be, as succinct as possible.
Yeah, I think Rich is a short email guy too, right? He never gets it. It's Rich. Call me. It's Rich.
Whatever works.
Who's Rich? Don't you remember me? I sent you an email about your mom's garden.
About your mom's hoe. It was great.
Okay. What about this candidate? Okay. This is a recruiter talking. I emailed a candidate the interview information. I sent a Google map, with a picture of the building, a benefits summary package, the address, their websites, a job description, and a profile of the hiring manager. Okay. And then I texted her the morning of the interview. Okay. And she replied, thanks. 30 minutes before the interview, she texted me, what's the address? Wow. That's bad. What would you say to the person? Anything? Nobody wants to reply.
I got to send this text.
Okay, you go on. Donna, any response?
Well, I would think he's a bad candidate. So, I mean,
would you just assume? Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. You think that's a red flag?
I would be a little bit concerned if it would be a little bit of a red flag, but you never know what was going on with them. So I would make sure they got to that interview, but I probably wouldn't be pushing too hard to the client to pick that person unless I did a little more digging.
Because of that, because they didn't read the email I sent. Obviously, that candidate didn't read the email.
And it depends on the job. It depends on what they're going for. Like if it was someone I'm placing in client services or project management, like no, that would immediately, that's bad because that's the kind of stuff they have to do all day long. If it's one of our scientific people, sometimes they're like that, absent-minded professor kind of people. So it would depend.
Okay, absent-minded professor. I guess Steve would say you could get in trouble for that too. Okay. The recruiter has to know how the candidate worked out. Okay, stay close to your customers to make sure they're getting the value they signed up for from your candidate.
Yep.
Yeah. What if they say no? I'm not happy with this candidate. It's not working out like I wanted it to. They're underperforming. What do you do then?
I'd find out what steps they've taken already, how they've addressed it with them. I would pick at all that. I do that internally too. I did that external and I did that internal. So I think it's really important.
Well, what if externally they say I'm not happy with the
then I'm gonna see what that fee agreement was, and for us it was 90 days. I'd see how close we were to the 90 days and try to find out what's going on, and if they were already on a performance improvement plan, what's the likelihood that they're going to let them go. I'd call the candidate, not tell them what I heard, but get their perspective, which we did that too. We always checked in with everybody to see how it's going.
Okay, here's one similar to what I just described with the other candidate. How do you respond to no-shows or ghosting? Okay, do you put them in a never hire status, or you realize that sometimes people, they just get cold feet and they don't have the guts to tell you, I'm not really interested in pursuing this, so they just don't call you and they don't call the company. They just disappear to protect themselves from a conflict. I like that assumption it might be a problem rather than just put them in the never speak to them again file. Anybody else got a comment on that? No?
I go back to them.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. I mean, it depends how it happens, candidly. Normal, I mean, and how good
they don't show. You set up an interview and then the person doesn't go. Then you phone them and
if they were a no-show with a client, and that if they ghosted that interview, I'd have a bigger problem with that than when they do it to me.
Yeah, great.
So it'd be a much bigger red flag at how they behaved with a client. But I would forgive what they did to me.
Yeah. I mean, it depends. If they miss it and then they call you, or they, just never return your call again. No, I probably wouldn't waste my time with them unless the guy is just an absolute A player that you got to suck it up for.
And then what would you say to him or her in that situation?
I've done it. Just listen. It can't happen again. if it does, we're gonna have a big problem.
Well, how do you address it? You have to get
That's
them to answer your phone call or email, right? After
Well,
they
I mean,
go.
you're not gonna. It's gonna be later down the line. It's not gonna be for a search that week. I mean, it's gonna be for a search in the future, and we're gonna remind them, hey, listen, last time you just completely ghosted, you made me look stupid. This is things happen. This is a second chance. You gotta promise me it's never gonna happen again. If you gotta pull out, let me know. It's okay, but you can't just not show up. You can't just go dark on me.
Well, you know what? It's always wondering when you say something like that, if you have to pull out or cancel, just let me know. Recruiters don't say that in advance, do they? Yeah, sometimes I'll say if something is going to change, just let me know. Even for the
Yeah.
show, I say if you can't make it, just let me know, no problem. Do you ever say that?
All the time.
Yeah.
All the
Okay.
time.
And so people hear that and they still don't let you know, right?
People are they don't care how it affects anyone else. They don't get it.
Okay.
I mean, that's the problem.
This one guy said, I tried giving a second chance to people, but I found I just keep getting burned again and again. It never works. So now they go to the garbage file for me. That's how that guy handles it. But I wanna mention something that we talked about last week with Tom Chamorro Premizic, even though I have to admit I was quite organized. His definition of emotional intelligence is really just suppressing your natural emotions. Like you're pissed off at somebody, you're angry, just be even tempered. Or even if you're worried or something like that, feign and pretend that you're not emotional. That's emotional intelligence in a nutshell. Would everybody agree with me about that? I really liked that when I read it. Anybody? Anyone? And no one else is saying, geez, that's fantastic, Recruiting Animal. It really explained a whole array of
You pause for like less than a second, and then if people don't jump in and they're processing your profound statement, you get impatient. But you can see I'm not really frustrated. I'm remaining calm.
Well, and this show, I like it when you express your frustration.
I know you really do.
Okay.
He gets excited when I get angry. But no, no, I thought he was good. I thought that was an interesting point. I don't know if I 100% agree with it. I think it's an aspect of emotional intelligence. I don't think it's a full definition. But
well, what's it missing? I'll tell you what I think it's missing. He also said that he's not good at hiding his own emotions, but he just meant that he has tells. You could tell even if he doesn't yell at you, you can tell when he's emotional or pissed off. What do you think there's more in emotional intelligence than just controlling your emotions? What is it?
Well, maybe it leads into you being able to do that, but even just reading the room, understanding what other people need to hear or want to hear. And I suppose part of that is how you're going to control your emotions to respond. But there's those other pieces of just even knowing what you should do.
Okay, you've added some, because I'm talking about reacting. You react in a way without any kind of passion. What you're saying is you can tell when someone needs something, so you can have an outreach to them based on what you perceive they require. Okay,
and that you know how to do it correctly.
Okay, I'll add one more element. If you just don't get angry in the first place, you're used to the idea already that people screw up. It doesn't, you're not really frightened. It doesn't freak you out. Not getting freaked out is what I would say. That's emotional intelligence. Okay, so you don't even have to control your temper. That's the way the world works. Okay. Rich, you got a minute? This is something for you.
Yeah, you got a minute. What's up?
Okay. Why sales reps change jobs? Ian Koniak says reps don't leave bad companies, they leave bad sales managers. And here's the two primary reasons. They don't believe their manager cares about them as an individual. Okay, they feel like a number instead of a person, and they aren't growing and developing under that manager. Okay, sales professionals crave growth. Would you agree with him about those two reasons?
Yeah, I mean, the second one I think sounds better than it is reality. But yeah, I mean, sales reps definitely leave bad managers or bad companies because if assuming the product works, these guys are getting pay cuts every year because their quota's going up, yet their on-target earnings are staying the same. And they're like, "Why'd you leave?" I'm like, "Well, you gave me $1 million to produce an extra $1 million in revenue to make the same money I made last year." You know,
Okay. You said that a number of times, and I'm glad I watched, and I even edited your interview with your friend
yeah.
Drew. Yeah, because you said you stressed this. You just didn't agree with Ian just now. You said so. Yeah, I agree with that, and then you said something completely different. It's for financial reasons. It's
Well,
financial. They change your territory or they change your quota.
Yeah,
So
but that's
working.
all about having a good manager. You're being too literal. It's all part of a real manager is going to have your back. Yeah, things are always going to change in your business as you grow, but a good manager, good sales leaders, the executives, the CRO, the VP of sales, the sales, they're going to, hopefully keep things within reason, where it's not, I've got to do an extra, $100,000 to make the same money I made last year.
So
it's all part of being a good manager.
And
But
that's not just sales though, because I had a similar conversation with the leadership at our company, because we've got some people who are really slow and some people work really quickly. And the expectation is that people who are working quickly, are going to take on more work because they have more capacity. And I'm like, you're basically punishing them in a way. Like, your reward for being exceptional is we're giving you more work. And that's only going to satisfy someone for so long. They're going to want to see a more tangible reward to their hard work. And I think it's the same thing with the sales and understanding what they need and not moving that target constantly and all that.
So according to Rich, it happens all the time. And it's kind of inevitable as the company starts doing better, the founding sales reps, they're not as necessary.
Well, it's not that they're not as necessary. The company just doesn't care about retention, which is ridiculous. But you got to look at it this way. Say your sales guy is getting $150,000 base, $150,000 on target earnings for hitting their quota. Quota say $1 million. They have half the U.S. And then a year goes by. Now you got a third of the U.S. And your quotas now went from $1 million to 1.2. All right, now I got less territory, more quota to hit. But my on-target earnings stays the same at $300,000.
Yeah, but maybe the product has penetrated the market more, so that it's an easier sell as well, right?
At that point, not so much. But you've got a couple of. But these guys, excuse me. At that point, not so much, because it's still a small company. But you still have I
guess this is the part you have to pay extra for. I guess he disappeared.
Oh, but there's his dog.
There's a little doggies there. What I was going to ask.
Yeah,
what I was going to ask.
Hang on. My phone rings and then I'm on Safari, and Safari sucks. So, but listen, your territory is going to keep shrinking. But you're the guy who got those initial clients in the door to help the company get to that point where they could shrink. So you're getting penalized for your success.
Okay, well, what can they do? What should a smart company, do in order to keep those great sales reps?
I mean, the easiest thing is, keep the quotas in realistic range. Don't tell me I have less accounts, but I have to earn more money. So they can, either increase the guy's base salary, maybe give him a higher percentage on the deals, or, they give him a realistic increase. They all know your quota is going to go up each year. Doesn't have to, candidly, but it's going to. We all know it's going to happen. But you got to keep it in expectations. You can't.
So you gave us the example. The territory is half the United States, and then the next year it's 1/3 of the United States.
Yeah, well, eventually it goes into a zip code.
Okay, but how can they keep the person making that much money or increasing their compensation? It sounds like they just do have to move. There's no more room for them in that company.
There is, but if you're going to hire more reps, you're going to hire more reps. And again, there's a lot of variation. It's depending on the product. Is the product a big monster enterprise product? Is it a land and expand type of product where you're going to close an initial deal for $100,000 today, but it's going to expand to 20 million next year or over the next couple of years? So there's a lot of variations too. And then do you get to keep your client? Some clients, hey, you close it, and then it's flipped to the account management team. You don't get the residuals or the renewals. So there's a lot of ways you can do it. You can play with the quotas. You can play with the comp plans. You can play with the territories. You can give them set accounts, strategic named accounts.
And when you call your clients on these candidates who are leaving because they're not making a lot more money, aren't they thinking to themselves, well, the exact same thing's going to happen here. He's going to last a year or two and leave.
Well,
Because-
you hope it's not going to be a year or two. You hope that these guys are going to be 3 or 4 years. And again, it's
But
up
you're
to
saying it depends
No,
entirely on the
listen,
management. You're
no,
saying it depends on the
you have to
management.
listen. You have to. The company needs to make it a fair field. If the company wants to screw themselves by cutting someone territory into a fraction of what it was, I mean, a half and a third is very general. It's still a big territory. It's when it gets down to like a company like Snowflake, a big famous company now. I mean, they had 26 reps in every city. I mean, they had 6 enterprise reps in the state of Tennessee. All right, there's not 6 enterprise accounts in the state of Tennessee for these guys to cover. So it's impossible to make your number, which is why only less than a third of the team ever hit their goal at Snowflake.
You should, instead of becoming a recruiting consultant, you should become a sales rep retention consultant. I'm not kidding.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Donna, what do you think about that?
I think Rich will excel at whatever he decides. to
You were listening.
That's why
Okay.
Donna's my favorite. Yeah.
You were listening. She was eating her
I do
lunch.
too.
Okay.
You talked about a sales consultant and how to retain your sales staff. I'm listening.
I
Okay.
mean, the reality is that though it's not dramatically hard if companies want to do it. They just don't want to do it. Like I've told these companies before too. It's like, listen, retention is far cheaper than hiring. Because think how much the cost of a recruiter is, how much the cost of training is, how much cost of onboarding, and then getting the guy up to speed. Like if you hire a salesperson now, it's generally going to take 4 to 6 months before they're productive. Opposed to pay you give a guy $10,000 and him and his wife on vacation for 20 grand or whatever. You're gonna have an employee for life. You got a wife that's happy with the company as well, and this guy's on. He's doesn't have to change. You don't have to ramp him up. He's 2 weeks off, and he's great. He's good to go.
I'm feeling like I'm not letting Donna eat her lunch. If you want to put your picture there instead, so you can eat.
I've been
Okay.
eating.
Okay, feel free. I don't want to feel
I've
nervous.
even got green stuff in my teeth.
Yeah, I don't care if you got spinach on your teeth or anything
I
like that.
do.
No one's going to see it as long as you don't say anything. Okay.
That's why I was being quiet. Then you keep popping over to
Okay.
me.
Well, I don't want to be rude. I'm a good host. Okay, but I won't say anything now. Okay.
Are you gonna bring up the one about makeup?
Oh, do you want to talk about that again? Go ahead.
I do because I
Are
want.
you wearing makeup right now?
I always wear makeup.
Wait, hey, Animal, did your volume just die? Or Donna,
No.
Does Animal sound soft? Actually, both
No,
sound soft.
I think
Probably
it's
my
you.
side.
Yeah, I think
I
it's
don't
you.
It's
You
me.
sound great, Rich. Much better.
But
than
you guys sound super soft.
Yeah.
There we go. My speakerphone keeps it keeps like just dropping. It keeps auto setting the volume.
Okay, before we get to the no makeup lady, Rich, I looked up. I was ready to hop onto VoIP as soon as you told me about it a month ago. I found 2 companies, local companies that had unlimited texting and stuff like that, and I sent them notes. They don't get back to me. Should I go with a bigger company like RingCentral, like you suggested?
I mean, RingCentral.
They charge you for texting, right?
It's like $20. It's like $20 a month, and you get.
It's more than that here, like 40 or 50.
It's Canadian now, so really worth it. I forget. You can take. There's different packages. Like, I think I pay like $40 a month for the phone service or something like that. Maybe it's $20.
And you get good support. You get good support from them. If you call, they talk to you.
Yeah, I mean, I can get someone. I can get someone to talk to me, and you can do live mess chat and all that stuff. I mean, like RingCentral's fine. It's not perfect, but it's good enough.
The only issue we had with RingCentral, but it was a group of us using it, because it was the agency. So it was like maybe 8 or 10 of us. But sometimes there would be like shadow voices or the line. Somehow it would not just be the call we were on. We could hear other calls.
Really?
Even we were all remote. And
Really?
it happened. It was really weird. Sometimes you just stop and listen, but it was strange.
I read that too in some reviews that the sound quality wasn't good, but Rich raves about it.
When it worked great. But when it didn't,
I wouldn't say rave, but it's worked well enough for me for like the last 5, 6, 7, 8
He
years.
doesn't rave. He's always telling us he sounds.
I say that's what I use. I say that's what I use.
But Rich,
you sound good. You're on a speakerphone and you sound great.
Listen, I have a question because the other problem we had was we often came up as spam when we would call people. Does that happen to you?
It did at one point. You had to call every so often to have them reset the codecs. It's called, and somehow that fixes it up.
Okay.
So.
What do
They
you mean
tell-
it came up with spam? I'm not clear on what you mean.
Like when you call and it
Alright.
says spam call likely, you get like that alert before you answer it. Do they not do that in Canada?
No, I've never seen it.
Oh,
Really?
Okay,
Wow.
but I don't have VoIP.
We got to start calling Canadians.
right, they
yeah,
won't know.
yeah,
Okay.
really.
So
The,
Donna wants to talk about the.
Well, I don't care about the
No,
makeup,
let's set
but-
it up. Let's
no,
set it up.
okay, set it up.
This woman on TikTok posted, it went viral, that she had a video interview for a VP of talent acquisition job. She wore earrings, her hair was combed, she wore a blazer, and I can't remember what kind of shirt she wore. But she said, look, I'm an interviewer. I know what to wear. She said, I looked fine. We had a great interview. We had a great we had a great interview, she said. It went 40 minutes, even though it was only scheduled for 30. And she said, the only thing is I didn't wear makeup. And when the recruiter got back to me later on, she said, that's why I'm ruling you out. You just don't present
Really?
yourself
Well,
very well.
But she didn't say because you don't wear makeup. She said that she didn't appear to put enough effort into her appearance or something. There was something.
Yeah.
She didn't specifically say makeup, and then the lady assumed it was
All right.
makeup.
Can I ask you, was this lady hideous?
No.
I mean,
She was
No.
normal looking,
Yeah.
but she was just normal looking, and her hair wasn't exceptional. There was nothing exceptional about her.
but she
And
didn't,
this is what.
did she look
Go ahead.
messy though? Did she look messy?
I mean, how do we know? According to what she said about herself, no.
Well, yeah,
Um,
but I got to imagine.
Well,
But-
I
but
want
I
to say
mean-
this one thing though, because I don't care so much about all her tirade about it, but all the people that were responding kept saying it doesn't matter how you look, or your looks shouldn't matter, or looks aren't important. And I wanted to put a post, but I'm like, oh, I'll be canceled. But I'll say it anyway. Like, it does matter, and in certain positions, it matters even more. And I mean, I guess it's wrong to say that some jobs it's better to have attractive people in the roles, and not that you have to be to do a good
No,
job
but
or
But
something.
the short answer is, Donna, it's like, listen, you got to look presentable. It sounds like to me, she really didn't look that presentable, is what I'd have to guess, that someone's going to actually come out and say that. She didn't, like, she said maybe she's just one of these messy looking people.
Well, and if it's again, they said I think VP of client or whatever it was, talent acquisition.
VA.
So I don't know,
Yeah.
but I know
VPTA.
like anything client facing, how, and it's not whether you wear makeup or not, but it's that executive presence that you carry.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't necessarily have to mean that you're the most beautiful or you're the most made up, but you have to have that executive presence. You have to be able to master, that space.
But so I had guys interview like executives, like, VPs, RVPs, interviewing a t-shirt. And I was like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Like, I'm not saying you got to wear a suit, but at least put a golf shirt on.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just not presentable for a senior opportunity, and if this lady, again, who knows what she looks like, doesn't look like, and it's not just,
She's not bad looking. I'll
No,
send
it's
you her TikToks. She's not bad looking. Okay.
No,
but
That
it's
picture,
not like,
that picture was
okay,
bad.
relax,
Okay.
relax. It's not the physical appearance. It's the fact that, hey, listen, if you come up and your hair's standing up here and you got like shit all over your face, I'm
Spinach
like,
in your teeth.
exactly. You're gonna be like,
And who knows? What if she did? I mean,
Yeah.
she didn't even think about that. What if she had just come from lunch and she had spinach in her teeth, and she's assuming it wasn't enough makeup on? But I just thought. But my bigger point was, I just couldn't believe how many people were just responding, saying that shouldn't matter how somebody looks. That shouldn't matter. The interview you shouldn't even see the person. Like, it should just. That floored me. I don't understand how people don't understand that does matter for certain jobs.
Whenever I post something about grooming, they attack me like, I guess, like 50 or 100
That's what
comments.
I'm
You're an
saying.
idiot, right?
listen,
That's
that's how you get your audience, baby. Come on.
I don't have an audience. Okay, you know that already. But I'll mention again that I do have an audience for shorts, not a
Yeah.
huge audience, but who knows? When I show Rich in his sweatshirt saying that other people don't dress,
Listen, you know what? I'll give you a little props. I've had a bunch of people call me or email me and say they heard me on your show.
oh really?
Very good.
Yeah. So
They just don't want to admit to anyone else that they're watching. it.
exactly.
No, but I can see the views. Okay, there's only for the show gets about 30 views, maybe that's it, and who knows how long they stay on. But some of the shorts get 400 or 450 views. Okay, so because they're only a minute long. Although I will say that I edit them, so in 1 minute, I mean, you'll get you might have 10 minutes of conversation. That's an exaggeration, perhaps, but it could be 5 minutes because I'll really slice it down sometime. If you're thinking, or I'm yelling at you, I'll cut that part out. So, it's just, in fact, that's what I say to myself sometimes. Shut up, so you don't have to edit yourself out so much. So this person can talk.
We'll remind you in the future.
Should we talk about recruiters who cheat other recruiters? Do you like? First, an e-signature tool. One woman said she's using DocuSign forever, and it's great. That's one of the most famous ones, right? DocuSign. And the other person said she uses PandaDoc.
Yeah,
it's
PandaDoc,
free. PandaDoc. It's free and it's great.
I think it's like DocuSign. You get so many free ones a month. I don't think it's free permanently.
Okay,
you get
how many
5
placements is she making every month? Okay, who knows?
But you get 5 free DocuSigns a month too.
You
got 2 email addresses, you get 10. I mean, 30 emails, you get 15. It's great. Who needs to pay?
Donna's you're wearing makeup? Just a little.
Always. I wear makeup
and your hair's
always.
in there too. So there you go. Much better. Look at that.
That's not bad, actually. I kind of like it. I kind of like it. A little volume there. I think I'm onto something.
Okay. Oh, there's another tool. Rich says he likes Sourcewell, but his favorite is OutplayHQ.com. Outplay is a sales automation tool. You want to tell us about that?
Well, Outplay is having a little issue right now, so that's not their finest week, quite frankly. they had an update with Crelate because they integrate perfectly into Crelate. Crelate changed their API, and it's causing all sorts of issues. But in general, Outplay is a great tool because if you use Crelate or PCR, it will pull stuff right from Crelate for you. It will sync back and forth so you don't have to work in 2 different systems. It can verify your emails. Soon it'll be able to verify your phone numbers. It will do AI writing. It can get all the analytics and intelligence for you. You can do phone drops, like just drop into email or voicemail rather. It can do voice dialing for you if you wanted to. I mean, it's a great all-in-one solution.
But you do never have to pay for these things, right?
I bought it on AppSumo a bunch of years ago.
Oh, you did? Oh, good for you. Okay. Yeah. Good for you. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So here's this woman's complaint. I worked with a recruiter a couple of years ago. She needed a contract person. We split the contract placement weekly for many months. Then the contract ended in September 2022. September 2022. We didn't work together after that. I just discovered that she placed that contractor again at the same client 6 months later for another 8 months. Our contract says the candidate ownership is indefinite by the candidate supplying firm. So she supplied the candidate. Her ownership is indefinite. They finished their deal. And then 8 months later, or a number of months later, that person who owned the client placed that same candidate again without getting in touch with her split partner. Okay. Is that cheating?
I wasn't listening.
I read it when they posted it. Then yeah, but didn't she also say that the lady paid her back? Didn't she give an update?
Yeah, well, yeah, she did. Okay.
So yeah, it was wrong, and she knew it was wrong, and she made it right.
So what would you do in this situation? What if you put a job on? You post something on LinkedIn. Hey, there's like this opportunity, and you don't try to hide who the company is. So another recruiter figures out who the company is, calls you and says, hey, is this such and such a company? And you're like, yeah, it is. And then they call that client and be like, hey, why don't you give me this search? We just placed 2 other guys with you. How would you feel?
Well, if it would have been different if they just called without checking with you first, how do they have the nerve to do that? You don't want to tell us who did it, right?
No, you would very much know this person.
Really? Wow. Wow. What do you think, Donna?
What did you do, Rich? What did you do?
I didn't do anything wrong.
That's what he's
No,
asking
but
us.
how did you respond? How are you
Uh,
continuing to respond?
I'm trying to have the best way to put that.
Maybe you shouldn't tell us if you got the killer instinct. That's where this guy has the killer instinct, and you need to kill him back, right?
All right.
So,
You don't have to reveal your master plan.
yeah,
Okay.
I mean, but just it's in a market that's pretty shitty already. It's just I think it's pretty shitty of other recruiters to.
Why check with you? What is he, an idiot?
Well, that's the thing. You know what? Quite candidly, listen. If you just called up direct and said, "Hey, working on the same search now, great. Why this client wants to give two recruiters an engagement fee for the same stupid search? Mind-boggling." But to each their own.
You should tell us what happens with that. And Donna, she worked out another problem with that person, but not this one. Okay.
Oh,
I can't
okay.
remember. So she
Okay.
said, based on my previous experience with this candidate's timesheets and pay rate, the gross billing on this would likely fall between $50,000 and $100,000. So, who knows how much she's going to want. I don't know what the billing rate is, but the gross pay is like, let's say $100,000. So she's going to want a percentage of that. I guess she just has to talk to the person, but lots of times just going to court is the only other alternative, right?
I guess it's always a risk
But
when
yeah,
you work
but
with people,
At the end of the day, is going to court for these small fees meaningless.
But you do it on principle, okay? You're telling us no, but
can
you do
afford
it.
it.
But I'm just saying, if you're going to sue someone for 20 grand, it's going to cost you 50 grand to sue them.
Would you do it?
I would, because I have the money.
There you go.
That's
There
what
you
I'm
go.
saying. He can afford it. That's his
But,
principles at work again.
But you know what? The end of the day is
There he goes.
Oh, there's his end of the day.
I'll
It's all
tell you about
gone.
something about empathy while he's disappeared. Empathy is sometimes bad because if you think you can feel what somebody else is feeling and you're angry at them for hurting you, like these guys did to Rich, you have even more of a desire to crush them because you can feel their suffering. Okay.
I don't think that's how it works. That's not
Oh
how
yes,
empathy-
it does. The more
No,
sensitive you
if
are, the
you're-
more bitter you are.
But if you're being empathetic even to the person who hurt you, that means you're seeing it from their point of view.
Yeah,
That's
and
being
that's why you
empathetic.
want them to suffer.
No,
You can
because
see their
you would be like, okay, what put this person
You're
in this
not
position?
sympathetic. No, it's not sympathy. It's not sympathy.
Empathy
I
is
talked to the
feeling
pro-
it.
I talked to the pro last week, the psychologist. I said, Rich put up this baloney about empathy and
He did
selling.
say
I
that.
said, and he agreed with you. I didn't get a chance. You weren't here. I said, oh, cool, but I don't agree with you. Rich was saying, no, empathy is the best selling tool. Baloney.
no,
But
it is. It
empathy,
is.
Okay, empathy.
You,
if in
you
the
have
sense,
to have EQ. You got to have some, emotional, intelligence to get to do well.
oh, now he's agreeing with Donna that you have to realize.
I
what
will
the
never
other
agree with you,
person's
Animal.
thinking. Okay, but a person who's a sales rep is a killer.
I gotta go in a
instinct.
sec. So
Okay,
yes.
bye. Okay, you've
Oh,
been
no.
dropping out all the show anyway.
I said Safari sucks. I can't help it. Blame Safari.
You like
So-
all those
you
Apple products.
You can afford something else, Rich. Do
He likes
better.
Apple.
We expect more from you.
Unfortunately, we were trying not to use Google. I was having Chrome issues too, but it could just be my computer,
Oh.
maybe.
Okay, but
Yeah.
actually, you're at least you're in the camera now. Usually, you're like a mile away. It seems.
Yeah.
Yeah. Usually, you're there.
I did leg day the other
Well,
day.
you
so
know
my
what?
legs are
We're out
cool,
of
so-
time anyway. It's after
See?
1 o'clock. Who
Yeah.
can believe it? Donna,
I know.
last
So much
words?
fun.
Anything
No,
you
I'm
want to
good.
say?
I'm good.
You're good. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm good. Richie Rich, good luck with your new venture. Wow.
Yeah. Sign up for coaching. More is essential.
The market must be bad in your business if you're
I just
wasting
I
time
actually closed a
thinking.
big deal today, so we're good. So,
Okay. Bye,
Awesome.
everybody.
ciao. Bye.
Take care.